And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Don't switch. You guys can hear me perfectly. I'm gonna start sharing my screen with all of you. Happy Tuesday. Hope everyone had an amazing weekend before we begin and kick things off. I hope all of you had an amazing weekend. Throughout the week, we've had a lot of different things happen with Trump, Elon Musk. I think that it's a conspiracy theory. The last time something like this happened where political parties were making such headlines in the media was when that submarine sank when it was looking at stuff of the Titanic. It was like a billionaire, millionaire family. And what was going in the back scenes, behind the scenes, what was going on was basically the US was sending Ukraine billions of dollars that the people, us, didn't even know about until it was too late because the media was distracting everyone from what was really going on. So I saw this video that describes the companies that own essentially the transportation market, the food market, the medical market, and the banking market. So check this out, guys. This is really interesting. So BlackRock and Vanguard basically own, majority of companies in the food industry. Like they're majority shareholders of McDonald's, of Coca-Cola, of Pepsi. Then they're major shareholders of Apple, Amazon, so it's like consumer goods. Then they're major shareholders in different companies of transportation like Ford, GM, Chevrolet. And then they're major shareholders in medical companies such as Johnson and Johnson, pharmaceutical companies. So these two big companies essentially are controlling the whole playground in terms of how you communicate, right? Because consumer goods, Apple, how you communicate, what you eat, what you put into your body in terms of medication, and the last one is the banking system. Where's your money? Because, you think if they control all these things, they're not going to control the banking system. Of course they are. They're huge shareholders in Chase, JP Morgan, and Wells Fargo, in some of the biggest banks of the world. They're huge shareholders. So they're essentially a monopoly. And the reason I think this is important to know is because, when people say we live in a matrix, I don't disagree. Like, there's people out there that own everything. There's people out there that have so much power that essentially, like, why do you guys think, countries are compromised? Like, why do you guys think that whenever someone in a political party says something they're not supposed to say, they disappear? Or you don't hear from them ever again? So I feel like this country and every country is compromised by people that we don't even know about. But with all of that being said, I thought that was a little bit of a conspiracy theory that I wanted to talk about and share with you guys. Because it is true. If you go look up at BlackRock and Vanguard, they own majority of everything. I mean, they're the largest shareholders right now, or some of the largest shareholders of Bitcoin. They're definitely some of the largest shareholders of the SPX 500, SPN 500, and Nasdaq, which are essentially two of the biggest indexes owned by the United States. So let's get straight into today's video, or live session, I should say. So we have here US30, right? US30 over, let's say, the last couple hours. Let's say we go back 10 hours. At 1 in the morning, US30 decided to dip down. Then at 1:30, it went up for a retracement. Then it dipped down again. And then it went up. And it reached this area of resistance that caused it to dip down to go up. So we understand there is major resistance right around this area. We understand there's major resistance right around that area right here. There's resistance, 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 resistance here, support, 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 goes up, breaks past the support, and now retests at the resistance right here. And now the market's going downwards. We are currently about 40 points in profit. So something that's very exciting is I started my challenge. With that being said, currently in my challenge, I'm $45 up. I'm using proper risk management on every trade I take because I do not want to blow up the account. But I'm going to be taking every single trade that I send out on this account. And after the trade hits take profit, stop loss, I will go on an Instagram reel or Instagram story and highlight what we did on the account, how we did it. And then every single week, I'm going to be creating a long format YouTube video on the account. So, like I said, we have US30 that has hit major areas of resistance. Now it hits major areas of support, came to break down, and now it's kind of consolidating. If we really look at it from the 1 minute perspective, it's consolidating up and down. It's finally broken down, but this orange candle doesn't look too good. It went up. So let's see what the following candles do. It looks like it went up almost to hit an area of support in itself right here, where there's resistance here, support, support, support. But we'll see what that does. Again, I think it's ranging because if we look at the 15-minute chart, as I was saying, we are about 30 points in profit. Right now it looks more like 20 points in profit after the market went up a little bit. Currently, this trade, I decided to send it out because I believe that the market will range within this area right here today. I believe it will range within this area, and it will come back down to hit this area. So if it comes down from where we entered right here at the very top. If it comes down, that's 100 points easily, and if it breaks down below, that would be 200 points. So that's why I decided to send out this specific signal. I also took in the signal. Right now on my phone, we are at a total of $66 in profit because I'm taking a $2,500 account up to whatever. So I'm using proper risk management on every trade. So right now we see that the trade is at this area. What we want this trade to do is essentially break past this area right here. Once it breaks past this area, I believe it coming down will be a very smooth transition, but it just has to surpass this area of support, and then it will have a smooth transition down. Based off the candle that we have, if you look at this candle, look how aggressive it looks as a bearish candle. In the next 10 seconds, we're going to see where it closes, but I would like it to close downwards as a whole candle, not leaving a wick in the downside. So we'll see how that closes. Like I said, I would have preferred it to close down here as a whole candle, not leave the wick. But we'll see how the following candle moves. We're in the 5 minute, so let's go on to the 15. And really the 15 is where we're going to see if there's a break towards the downside or not. So we'll just have to stay patient with that. Moving on to Nas100. On Nas100, we see that the market tried to go up, but ultimately failed. Nas100, if we draw out some resistance here, and we draw out some resistance of where the market could potentially reach to, which will be that area, and we calculate from where the market's at, from here to down here, that would be 50 points, and then all the way down here would be almost 100 points. Nas100 does not look like a bad trade to be entered, because it's doing the exact same thing as US30. So with that being said, I'm gonna go look at my chart here real quick. Nas100's price is 820. So, oh man, and there's no video. Jeez, sorry guys. Oh my god, I've been sharing the whole time, but you guys haven't seen. Okay, we're back now. Thank you for writing in the chat box. If not, I would have never noticed. I entered a sell on Nas100. And Not exactly happy how that closed this candle right here. Nas100, it's at basically entry price. Let me draw the short position. That's Nas100. US30 is basically back at entry as well. At 10, it's 10 a.m. So let's see how they perform. When we look at SPN 500, it's basically consolidating. The VIX looks like it's moving towards the downside, which we don't want that, but there is a gap, so that is a good thing with that gap. We'll come up to fill the gap, and I'm assuming the reason it went down was to fill in this gap right here. So it went down to fill in the gap, it's filled it in. So there's a small gap right here, but there was a previous gap right here that the market then filled in. So I believe the market now will come up to fill in that small gap. And if we use a trend line, we'll see how that moves. US30 now is coming down again, hit that area of resistance. Nas100 is going up, which doesn't make sense because US30 is coming down. And it was coming down. There was different areas of different candles being wicked, and now you see that now it's trying to go up again. Huge wick here, huge wick right here. If I move this short position, two huge wicks, and now the market's going up. So we'll see how that performs. S&P 500 is moving towards the upside as well, but again, two huge wicks. So it surprises me that there's two huge wicks. There's indications that the market's going to break towards the bottom and it's going up. US30 is the only one that's starting to break down, so we'll give it some time. USD CAD is starting, it looks like it's going to start to break upwards, which is really important. I'm going to bring up the 30-minute time frame on USD CAD. We see here that it's breaking down super hard, and now it's reached an area of support that it may use that area of support, this area right here, to break towards the upside. If this breaks towards the upside and potentially breaks and goes to this area, then we might take profit with US30 and Nas100. And this looks like a really good trade as well. It's reached the bottom of support. You know, if we were to do a long position and entered here and risk, let's say, about 20 pips, sorry, for 50, you know, it doesn't seem like a bad trade-off. But the last time I've traded Forex pairs, I've lost twice. And I don't think the third time is going to be my lucky number. So I'm not going to take this trade, but I do think that it will come up. So this is where having emotional discipline is so important, because this looks like a pretty good setup to buy, but because I'm emotionally disciplined, I do not let my emotions control my action taking or decision making when it comes to trading. I'm an indices trader. I trade Nas100 and primarily US30. So just because something looks good somewhere else doesn't mean that you should take it. Remember, salt looks like sugar, but it's not. So yeah, we'll go back to US30. US30 is still moving towards the downside. Nas100 is basically at entry. It's 4 points in drawdown, 5 points in drawdown. So yeah, it's really about how the VIC really moves and how USD CAD moves. That would give us a good, illustration of how the market will move. But US30 here on this chart, notes price. I don't want notes. Okay. So this is comparing every single year based off percentage. So it looks like now it's starting to sell off, because if you've noticed in the year, damn, I wish this little thing would move, but every year around this time it starts to sell off. Right here, it looks like it's buying. Right here, it looks like it's gonna start to sell. Right here, it looks like a sell off. Right here, it looks like a sell off, and then here it looks also like a sell off. So, you know, and if we drag the thing back, it looks like the exact same thing. So, yeah. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is continue to wait for these trades to take profit or stop loss. I'll continue to update you guys on these trades as the day goes on. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the live session, and I apologize for my Wi-Fi. What I'm gonna be doing is creating a live webinar where I could go over a lot of more educational things with you guys. And I'll be doing that Thursday. But I'll be aiming to do it like Thursday afternoonish. Or if not over the weekend, I could do it by the afternoon over the weekend. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. With that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I appreciate you guys for hopping onto the live session.